Blessing in abundance. God is able to bless you abundantly. God will increase your harvest and bless you abundantly. There is no limit to what God can do for you. He has great things in store for you. Expect God to increase you and anticipate His favor, and know that it pleases Him to pour out His goodness upon you. He will supply every need of yours, my dear children. He will go over and above your expectations. God is able to bless you. Have a blessed day, children. Have you gone through all the videos that I've sent so far? If you haven't gone through, please go through it every day. Time is very precious. Please don't waste your time, children. Whatever I post every day, please go through it. Do your homework, your classworks. And apart from that, you have to prepare for your examinations and for your quarterly exams too. Let's start with the repo rate and reverse repo rate. I start with the credit control measures carried out by the RBI. So in continuation with that, we have two things, the repo rate and the reverse repo rate. So the repo rate and the reverse repo rate are the frequently used tools with which the RBI can control the availability and the supply of money in the economy. RR is always greater than RRR in India. RR means the repo rate. Repo rate is always greater than reverse repo rate in India. So first of all, you should understand what is a repo rate and reverse repo rate. The rate at which the RBI was willing to lend, this is lend, okay? The rate at which the RBI is willing to lend to commercial banks is called a repo rate. The rate at which the RBI is willing to lend to commercial bank is called as a repo rate. What did you understand? Whenever the commercial banks need money, they can go to the RBI. They can go to the RBI and get loans. So the rate at which the RBI is willing to lend to commercial banks is only called as a repo rate. Whenever banks have any shortage of funds, they can borrow from the RBI. Whenever banks have any shortage of funds, they can borrow from the RBI against securities. What do you mean by securities? Securities have values. Already I have said this several times. So each security or bonds or bills of exchange, they have value. So according to that value, if you have a security worth 50 crores, you can give that security worth 50 crores to the RBI, and instead of the security, you can borrow money. So whenever banks have any shortage of funds, they can borrow from the RBI against securities. If the RBI increases the repo rate, just imagine now, if the RBI increases the repo rate, it makes borrowing expensive for banks. So what will the banks do? The banks will refrain from borrowing because the repo rate is high. If the RBI increases the repo rate, it makes borrowing becomes expensive for the banks. If the RBI decreases the repo rate, it becomes cheap for the banks to borrow. As a tool to control inflation, RBI increases the repo rate, making it more expensive. If the repo rate increases, the borrowing becomes expensive for the banks to borrow. Similarly, the RBI will do the exact opposite in the deflationary environment. So whenever there is inflation, the RBI increases the repo rate. When there is inflation, the RBI increases the repo rate. When there is deflation, the RBI decreases the repo rate. So what is repo rate? The rate at which the RBI is willing to lend to commercial banks is called as repo rate. What is reverse repo rate, RRR? The rate at which the RBI is willing to borrow. Now the RBI is borrowing. Here the commercial bank is borrowing from the RBI. Here it is vice versa. The rate at which the RBI is willing to borrow from the commercial banks is called reverse repo rate. If the RBI increases the reverse repo rate, the repo rate and the reverse repo rate depends on the RBI's decision only. Increasing or decreasing, only the RBI can do it, not the commercial bank. So if the RBI increases the reverse repo rate, it means that the RBI is willing to offer lucrative interest rate to banks to park their money with the RBI. Suppose if the RBI is increasing the reverse repo rate, that means if the commercial banks give loan to the RBI, they get a very big reverse repo rate. So if the reverse repo rate increases, the commercial banks are tempted to give more money to the RBI. So the funds from the commercial bank goes to the RBI. It goes to the RBI. At the same time, the RBI gives them a huge reverse repo rate. This results in the decrease in the amount of money available for the banks. So what happens when the commercial banks give the money to the RBI, the amount of money available for the banks to give to the customer reduces. So when this reduces, the rate of interest becomes higher. This results in a decrease in the amount of money available for the bank's customers, as banks prefer to park the money with the RBI. Instead of giving it to the customers, the bank is giving to the commercial bank is giving to the RBI, as it involves higher safety. So instead of giving it to the customer, if it gives to the RBI, it is more safe. This naturally leads to a higher rate of interest. So when the commercial banks are left with little amount of money, naturally there is a higher rate of interest which the banks will demand from the customers for lending money to them. Hope you understood this. Shall I explain this again in Tamil? What is reverse repo rate? The rate at which the RBI is willing to borrow from the commercial bank is only called as reverse repo rate. RBI வந்து commercial banks இருந்து காசு வாங்கும் போது அதுக்கு அவங்க கொடுக்குற வட்டி விகிதத்துக்கு பேர் தான் அது ரிவர்ஸ் ரெப்போ ரேட். இப்போ ஆர்பிஐ பார்க்குது கமர்ஷியல் பேங்க்ட இருக்க நிறைய அமௌண்ட் ஆஃப் மணி தன் வசம் வரணும்னு யோசித்தாங்கன்னா ரொம்ப அவங்களுக்கு நயம் காட்டி அல்லது ஆசை காட்டி நிறைய ஹை ரேட் ஆஃப் ரிவர்ஸ் ரெப்போ ரேட் கொடுக்கும்போது கமர்ஷியல் பேங்க்ஸ் தங்கிட்ட இருந்த பணத்தை யார்கிட்ட கொடுத்துட்றாங்க? ஆர்பிஐட்ட கொடுத்துட்றாங்க. அப்போ கமர்ஷியல் பேங்க்ஸ் கையில் இருக்க பணம் என்ன ஆகுது? கம்மியாகுது. அப்போ கஸ்டமர்ஸ்கிட்ட கொடுக்கறத விட ஆர்பிஐட்ட கொடுக்கும் போது அவங்களுக்கு சேஃப்டி மெஷர்ஸ் ஜாஸ்தி இருக்கிறதுனால ஆர்பிஐட்ட கொடுத்துட்டாங்க. இப்போ கமர்ஷியல் பேங்க்ஸ் கிட்ட இருக்க காசு கம்மியாக இருக்கிறதுனால கஸ்டமர்ஸ் வந்து பேங்க்கில் லோன் வாங்கும்போது அவங்களுக்குரிய இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட் ரேட் எப்படி இருக்குது? ஹையாக இருக்குது. புரிஞ்சுதா? ஸோ திஸ் இஸ் ஒன்லி இன் திஸ் வே the money supply in the economy is controlled by the RBI in two ways. One is called as the repo rate and the other one is called as the reverse repo rate. This is in continuation with what we studied the previous day. Some of the credit control measures carried out by the RBI. These are also two methods in which RBI controls the availability and the supply of money in an economy. Okay, so this is again an additional slide. What is repo rate and reverse repo rate? Repo rate is the rate at which the Central Bank of India grants loan to the commercial banks for a short period against government securities. Only if you get government securities, you can borrow loan from the RBI. Reverse repo rate is the rate at which the commercial banks grant loan to the Central Bank of India. Purpose: to fulfill the deficiency fund. Whenever there is a deficiency in the fund, the central bank can borrow from the RBI to ensure liquidity in the economy. This is to ensure liquidity in the economy. Repo rate is always high. Reverse repo rate is comparatively less. Repo rate is used in the times of inflation. This is to control the money supply in the economy. Okay? It is enough if you know all these details. Next, let us go to agricultural credit. Agricultural credit. Reserve Bank of India and rural credit. Let us see about that first. It is found on page number 107. 6.5.4 Reserve Bank of India and rural credit. In a developing economic like India is a developing country. Okay, That's why we call it as a developing economy. The central bank, which is the central bank? The RBI. The function of the RBI need not be only monetary regulation, because India is an agro-based, otherwise India is an agrarian country. More people are engaged in agriculture and most of the industries are agro-based industries. So India is an agrarian country. So in a developing economy like India, the central bank of the country cannot confine itself to the monetary regulation only. The RBI cannot confine its duty only to the monetary regulations. It is expected that it should take part in development functions in all the sectors of the economy, especially agriculture and industry. So the RBI has been playing a very vital role in the provision of agricultural finance in the country. The bank's responsibility in this field has been increased due to the predominance of agriculture in the economy. In Indian economy, agriculture is the main occupation. So the RBI cannot confine its duty only to monetary regulation. It has to finance the agricultural credit. In Indian economy, there is an inadequacy of the formal agency to cater to the huge requirements of the sector. ஸோ லீகலாக, அதாவது கவர்மெண்ட் சார்ந்த நிறுவனங்கள், கடன் கொடுக்குற நிறுவனங்கள் ரொம்ப கம்மியாக இருக்குது. அதனால் ஃபார்மர்ஸ் அடிக்கடி என்ன பண்ணுறாங்க, வட்டிக்கு யாராவது அவங்க ஊரில் இருக்க இடைத்தரகர்கிட்டையோ அல்லது அவங்க ஊரில் இருக்க பஞ்சாயத்து தலைவர்கிட்டையோ அல்லது ஜமீன்தார்கிட்டையோ வாங்கி குறைந்த காசை வாங்கினாலும் வட்டி அதிகமாக கொடுத்து ஏமாந்துடுறாங்க. ஏன்னா இந்தியா மாதிரி கண்ட்ரியில் தெர் இஸ் இன்அடிக்வசி ஆஃப் ஃபார்மல் ஏஜென்சி. ஃபார்மல் ஏஜென்சினா என்னது? அரசாங்கத்தை சார்ந்த நம்ப தகுந்தவர்கள் பணம் கொடுக்கறதில்ல ஃபார்மர்ஸ்க்கு. அதனால் ஃபார்மர்ஸ் என்ன ஆகுறாங்க, யார்கிட்டையாவது இப்போ என்ன பண்ணுறாங்க, குறைந்த வட்டி, நிறைய வட்டி கொடுத்து பணத்தை வாங்குறவுடைய சூழ்நிலை இருக்கிறதுனால ஆர்பிஐ என்ன பண்ணியிருக்குது, கிரெடிட் கொடுக்கறதுக்காக நிறைய பேங்க்ஸை ஏற்படுத்தியிருக்காங்க. ஓகே, ஸோ தி RBI set up separate agricultural credit department. However, the volume of informal loans has not declined sufficiently. In spite of RBI making so many efforts, it is still adequate because more farmers tend to do sowing, weeding and ploughing, getting loans. So it is very, the credit which the RBI is giving is very, low. It is very insufficient. So what are the functions of agricultural credit department? So hope you understand what I said. In order to fulfill this important role effectively, the RBI set up a separate agricultural credit department. The RBI set up a separate agricultural credit department. Okay, so what are the functions of agricultural credit department? There are 3 functions which is found on page number 108, 6.5.6. This is the answer for question number 27. First one, the functions of agricultural credit department is as follows. 1, to maintain an expert staff to study all the questions on agricultural credit. So they have expert staff to study all the questions related to agricultural credit. This is the first function. Second, to give advice to the central government and the state government. So RBI has created this agricultural credit department to advise, to give expert advice to the central and the state government. Third one, to finance the rural sector. So I said 3 points. First one, to maintain an expert staff to study all the questions on agricultural credit. Second one, to provide expert advice to central and state governments. Third one, to finance the rural sector through eligible institutions. So these are the functions of agricultural credit department. So the Reserve Bank was doing all these things, but since the volume of credit became larger and larger, the RBI had to start a separate bank for agriculture itself. With the establishment of National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, NABARD, all the functions of RBI relating to agricultural credit had been taken over and looked after by NABARD since 1982. So since 1982, the RBI set up a separate bank called the National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, NABARD. Since then, all activities relating to rural credit are entirely looked after by NABARD. Okay, so again you have another bank here, Agricultural Refinance and Development Corporation, ARDC. It gives long-term finance facilities. The ARC was established on 1st of July 1963. The Agricultural Refinance Development Corporation was established by an Act of Parliament and it started functioning from July 1st. So what do you mean by refinance? Refinance. We have heard about finance, but what is refinance? Refinancing is the replacement of an existing debt, or an existing loan is paid off early with the funds obtained from another. சப்போஸ் ஒரு ஃபார்மர் வந்து எங்கேயோ கடன் வாங்கியிருக்காரு, அந்த கடனை வந்து அவருக்கு திருப்பி செலுத்துறதுக்கு வட்டி ஜாஸ்தி ஆகிட்டே இருக்குதுன்னா இப்போ அந்த கடனை முழுமையாக அவர் கொடுத்து அந்த லோனை க்ளோஸ் பண்ணிடலாம். அப்போ அவர் யார்கிட்ட வரலான்னா ஏஆர்டிசி கிட்ட வரலாம். ஏஆர்டிசி கிட்ட வந்து நான் ஏற்கனவே ஒரு இடத்துல லோன் வாங்கியிருக்கேன் 1 லட்சம், அந்த லோனை அடைக்கிறதுக்கு எனக்கு ஒரு கடன் தாங்கன்னு சொல்லும்போது தட் இஸ் ஒன்லி கால்ட் அஸ் ரீஃபைனான்ஸ். ஸோ அண்ட் எக்ஸிஸ்டிங் லோன் இஸ் பேட் ஆஃப் ஏர்லி. ஒருவேளை ஒரு 10 மாதத்துக்கு எடுத்திருக்காரு, ஆனால் இப்போ ஃபீல் பண்ணுறாரு அதை வந்து வேற ஒரு இடத்துல இதை விட நல்ல சீப் ரேட்டில் இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட் கிடைக்கிற இடத்துலேருந்து மொத்தமாக பணத்தை வாங்கிட்டு வந்து இந்த ஏஆர்டிசியிலேருந்து வாங்கிட்டு வந்து ஏற்கனவே வாங்கின இடத்துல என்ன பண்ணிடுறாரு, காசை கொடுத்து அந்த கடனை அடைச்சிடுறாரு. அதுக்காக கடன் கொடுக்குற ஒரு நிறுவனம் தான் அக்ரிகல்ச்சரல் ரீஃபைனான்ஸ் அண்ட் டெவலப்மெண்ட் கார்ப்பரேஷன். Refinancing is an existing loan is paid off early with the funds obtained from another. ஸோ இதனுடைய முக்கிய ஆப்ஜெக்டிவே என்னதான், ரீஃபைனான்ஸ். Refinancing or the debt already got by the farmer from some other place. So the objective is to refinance, assist and guide the farmers. 30th June இருந்து short term refinancing agency approval கிடைச்சிருக்கு. There are 9 members. Board members வந்து 9 people. 1 deputy manager, 1 MD, 1 nominee from the RBI, 3 government and 3 shareholders are the members of this ARDC. Next, let's go on to NABARD. What is NABARD? A National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. This is NABARD, okay? NABARD was set up in July 1982. It is linked organically with the RBI by the latter contributing half of its share capital and other half contributed by the Government of India. So the shares are held by the RBI and the Government of India. So the entire shares of NABARD is owned by the RBI. 50% of the share is owned by the RBI and the remaining is owned by the Government of India. Government of India nominates 3 of its central board directors on the board of NABARD. A deputy governor of RBI is appointed as the chairman of the NABARD. The deputy governor of the RBI is the chairman of NABARD. So the NABARD functions in a 3-tier cooperative credit structure. It has 3 tier. What do you mean by 3 tier? At the bottommost, they have the primary cooperative society. Above the primary cooperative society, they have the central cooperative bank. And then in the state level, they have the state cooperative bank. So this is the 3-tier system followed by the NABARD. 3-tier cooperative credit structure. You have the state cooperative bank. Beneath that, you have the central cooperative. And at the lowermost level, you have the primary cooperative society. RBI and industrial finance. Though industries get finance from commercial banks, the quantum and the term will be very much limited generally. So the RBI gives finance even to the industries also. It is not only for the agricultural unit, it also gives finance to industries. Commercial banks lend for short term only as they get only short-term deposits from the public. So commercial banks, when they give to the industries, they can give only short-term. குறுகிய காலத்துக்கு மட்டும்தான் கடன் கொடுக்க முடியும். ஏன்னா கஸ்டமர்ஸ்ட இருந்து வாங்குறதும் எப்படி தான் இருக்கு, குறுகிய கால டெபாசிட்டாக இருக்கிறதுனால தி கமர்ஷியல் பேங்க்ஸ் get only short-term deposits. So they can give only short-term credit. Hence, there is a need and urgency of establishing long-term credit facilities to the industries. So far, they were giving only short-term. So there is a need for the long-term. The institutional setup in India for financing and promoting industries are as follows. So there is an institutional setup for the industries. So all India levelலையும் இருக்கு, state levelலையும் சில institutions இருக்கு. So எங்க போய் கடன் வாங்கலாம் industries. All India levelல பார்த்தீங்கன்னா you have the Industrial Finance Corporation of India, Industrial Credit and Investment Corporation of India, Industrial Development Bank of India. இதெல்லாம் என்னது ஆல் இண்டியா லெவலில். ஓகே, ஸ்டேட் லெவலில் யூ ஹாவ் ஸ்டேட் ஃபைனான்ஷியல் கார்பரேஷன் அண்ட் ஸ்டேட் இண்டஸ்ட்ரியல் டெவலப்மெண்ட் கார்பரேஷன்ஸ். ஸோ தீஸ் ஆர் ஆல் இன்ஸ்டிடியூஷன்ஸ் செட் அப் டு கிவ் finance to industries. It is not only short-term finance, it is also long-term finance for the industries. So here we have the institutions set up in India. We have the ICICI, we have All India Institution, Industrial Finance Corporation of India, then we have IDBI, then ICICI. So ICICI was initially formed with the help of the World Bank in 1995. This is also very important. ICICI initially start பண்ணும்போது it was a joint venture with the World Bank 1995. இப்போ ICICI Bank is the second largest bank in India. Then even in New York Stock Exchange, you have ICICI shares. Okay, so ICICI has become the first Indian bank to list on the New York Stock Exchange. Then you also have internet banking operations available in ICICI Bank from 1998. So all these things are there in your textbook. You can go through that. Okay, all India level institutions, then the state level institution. You have about each of these institutions. You have about IFCI, IDBI and its functions, then ICICI and its functions. Okay. Then in the state level institution, we have the state financial corporations, state-owned companies or agency in the states of India, which were established at various times under the policy of Government of India for the promotion of small-scale industries. SIDCO was formed for the promotion of small-scale industries. It is a public sector. It is owned by the government. It was established under the Company Acts in 1956. It was designed to cater to the needs of small and village industries. So what is SIDCO? Small Industrial Development Corporation. Small Industrial Development Corporation. You also have SFCS. These are all state level institutions. இங்கே பார்த்தோம் இல்லையா, ஆல் இண்டியா லெவலில் பார்த்தோம். இதெல்லாம் ஆல் இண்டியா லெவல். இதெல்லாம் என்னது ஆல் இண்டியா லெவல் பார்க்குறது. தென் யூ ஹாவ் ஸ்டேட் லெவலில் ரெண்டு இருக்குது, SFCS, ஸ்டேட் ஃபினான்ஷியல் கார்பரேஷன் அண்ட் சிட்கோ. அதை தான் இங்கே போட்டிருக்கேன், ஸ்டேட் லெவல் இன்ஸ்டிடியூஷன், ஸ்டேட் ஃபினான்ஷியல் கார்பரேஷன்ஸ் அண்ட் சிட்கோ. Next we have to see about the monetary policy. After a short break, I will continue with it.